Welcome to this Gdevelop 5 tutorial. In this tutorial, we are going to learn how to animate a character sprite using multi-touch controls in a mobile platform or in any touch screen platform. So let me show you first what we are going to make. So this is what we are going to be making in this tutorial. You can see we are using multi-touch and the character is being animated properly, and you can use many keys simultaneously. It will work, and character is being flipped left and right. So we are going to be doing all these things in this video. So let me start. Before I start, I will clear the changes which I have made to this project. This project is the same project which I have shared when we were learning multi-touch platform controls. So I will link that old video and the old files also, so you can download them and follow this video, follow along. Right, I will delete now all the changes which I have made, and I will start from scratch. Not exactly scratch, because I will start from the previous files which I have shared with you in a previous video, where we learned how to move a block around using these arrows and this jump key. So let me do that now. So let us now start our tutorial. First thing which I want to do is get a character sprite. So there are two ways to do it. One way is you can make the sprite yourself in some art program, and if you are skilled enough, you can do it. But if you are not skilled enough in art, then I suggest that you can get some sprites online. So what I will be doing, I will be getting this sprite, cute girl free sprites, from game art 2D, and I will put this link in the description so that you can download it too and work with me in this tutorial. So download it from here, and after downloading it, I will simply uh, unzip the files. I have unzipped them over here, and you can see that I have all the sprites here. So what you have to do is simply copy this folder, copy it, and paste it in your game folder, in the folder of your game. So I will do it now. Right, so that's how I will bring the sprites in my game, in the scope of my game, right? So now inside Gdevelop, how to actually bring those sprites and replace this box with the sprite. So let's first open this character. So I double clicked it and opened it. You can see I have a box, but I want the girl sprite. So what I will do is I will simply click on add an animation. And I will, first of all, I want an idle animation, right? So how do I know what is the name of the animation? In game development, we basically have idle, walk, run, jump, and attack. And you will see these words here also in the sprites themselves. You can see dead, idle, jump, and run, walk, right? So that's the very standard terminology. Now after putting the name of the animation, I will click on add. I will simply go to my cute girl files folder and navigate to my idle sprites, which is this, and you can just click on first one and go all the way to the last one and shift click, so you will select all of them and just simply click on open. So all these sprites are now have now been imported into my game. The next thing which you want to do is you want to loop them, right? Because when a character is idling, the idle animation will keep playing continuously as long as they are idling. So I will click on loop and notice this time. This is actually very important. This is how much time is your game spending on every frame. So right now it's pending 0.08. So let's preview it and see how it looks like. So you can see that is kind of, it looks kind of slow to me, but if it's okay with you, you can keep it at 0.08, but I like it 0.33, you know, kind of fast, but 0.033 gives you almost 30 fps, as you can see, right? If you make it 0.08, then it will give you a little less fps, 13 fps, but it's up to you. I keep it at 0.33, right? So that looks good to me. If it doesn't look good to you, you can change it. This is, you can change this. There's no problem in doing that. So now the next animation which I want is uh let's say walk walk animation. Now I will add that walk. This is walk 1 and all the way to walk 20. So I have to all the files for the walk animation. Walk will also be looped, right? Because when someone is walking, they are continuously running the same animation. And again, I will change this to 0.33, and you can preview it if you want. So this is kind of walking very quickly, but you know you have to keep this same. If you have put 0.033 in one animation, I will suggest that you put 0.033 in rest of the animations as well. So now my next animation will be I think it will be jump. I will now add some files for jump. So jump is kind of special, and I will show you how. You have to do a little bit more here. First of all, simply select all the jump animation sprites and open them. And again, you can do 0.33, and we should not loop it. Jump doesn't loop, right? So don't loop it. So that's jump. But also, I want a idle, jump idle, and why I will tell you, or you can call it fall, like the character is falling down, that animation, and it will be around, I think, this one, jump 24, looks like it will be good for a falling animation, fall. What do you say? So I will tell you why I want jump 24 to be the falling animation. So it's important to note that. But why do I want a falling animation at all? I will tell you soon. First of all, let me make it fall. Character is falling, and it will only consist of one frame, and that frame I have chosen to be this one, jump 24. It looks good, and that's it. I don't know if you want to set this. It's of no meaning here because we have only one frame, but still I will add for the sake of being keeping it regular, and it will not loop. Or you can, yeah, it will not loop, no need to loop it, fall. So next animation which I need is dead. The character is dying, or has died. So take dead one all the way to dead 30, or however many sprites you have, open them, and that, there you go. And I will again do it 0.033, and it will not loop, right? It will only play once. So these are all the animations which I wanted. So everything is very regular, which, I mean, you know how to do that. Just this one may be a little bit confusing, like why do I want a fall animation when jump animation already handles the falling. I will tell you why it's important, little bit. So click on apply, and you can see that I still have my box. I have to remove the box. Let me remove the box. So to remove an animation, you can simply click on this dustbin and the animation will be removed. Click on apply and you have the girl in the in place of the box. So right away you can notice that the girl is too big, right? It doesn't look good. I mean, on the stage, my stage is too small, but the girl is too big. How to resize the girl or any sprite which you have? How do you resize that? You can resize it by clicking on custom size. But what should be our size? You have to maintain the aspect ratio also. If you click on custom size and you type like suppose I type 100 cross 100, then it will not preserve the aspect ratio. If I type 1000 cross 1000, it will not exactly preserve the aspect ratio of your original sprite. I want to preserve that, right? Otherwise it will look very bad. This sprite is looking okay for a square aspect ratio, but square is actually not its real aspect ratio. And how do we find out what is the aspect ratio of our sprite? Just go to the files and just select, look at one of them. I mean, you can hover your mouse on one of them and you can see immediately, I can see the dimensions 416 cross 454, right? So that's my width cross height, right? And now if I open my calculator, 416 divided by, how much was it? How much was it? I forgot. 454. 454. 416 divided by 450. So I have some big number here. So that's the aspect ratio. 0.916263. 0.9163 is our aspect ratio, right? So, and here also you have to fill in the width and height according to that. Then only your character will look good. Otherwise, it will look very bad, right? So, like, how do we do that? You can do it very simply. When you have this number, this big number, you can simply multiply uh, any height. Suppose I want my character to be of 300 height, then I will click, I will input 300 and I will get some number 274.88. So you can round it up to 275, right? That's reasonable. And let me do that. In height I will put 300 and in width I will put 275. So using, so by doing this we have preserved the aspect ratio of our uh, right, right. So that's how you can do it. But 300 height looks a little too much. So this time I will put my height to be something else. So let me delete. How do I have to input the ratio again. What was it? 416 cross 454. 416 cross 454. My ratio, and oh well, I multiplied it. I have to divide it. 454. Yeah, 49163. Okay, and multiplied by not 300 this time, maybe 200. And immediately I have the width, corresponding width, 183.26. 183.26. 183.0. 183.26. So this is all, this is looking all right. I think 200 height is okay. Although in my which and in the game which I showed you just now, the footage, it's actually something else, but you can keep it at 200. It's okay. Looks okay to me. Okay, now you can minimize your calculator. That's how you have to preserve the aspect ratio. Otherwise, your character will look very distorted. right? And we don't want that to happen. This girl is looking okay if even if you are putting the aspect ratio as 1:1, but most characters will not look okay. So that was the thing about aspect ratio. So now uh, let us bind the controls to the animation. Now let me go to the scene, I mean the program, the commands. Here you can see that we have four different actions, four different you know events for left arrow, right arrow, jump and pause button. So when left arrow is pressed, then we are simulating pressing left for character, and similarly for right, similarly for jump, but we are not animating the character here. So we have to put in the code for animation here, right? So just click on add action and go to sprite, animation and images, change the animation and choose character is equal to, so what was the walking animation? It was 0, right? No, it was 1. It was 1. 0 was idle, 1 was walk, as far as I remember. So click on OK. If we get it wrong, we can correct it. There is no problem in that. And here for right, again we have to play the walking animation. So go to sprite, animations and images, change the animation, character is equal to again 1, right? And when jump is pressed, you can simply play the jump animation. Change the animation, character is equal to jump was I think 0 was idle, 1 was walk, 2 was 2 was I think jump, idle, walk, jump. I guess it was 2. Let me verify it. I don't know for sure. Yeah, 2 was jump and 3 is fall and 4 is dead. Okay, so that's good. So now after this we have one more, character is in collision with spike, so we will handle that a little later. So now let us do something else. So when the character is idling, what will we do then? We have to play the idle animation, right? So you have to do something like this. If uh, first of all, let us go to the platform behavior and let me select is moving. Is the character moving? And I will say is the character not moving. You will understand it here. I have selected character is moving and not. I want to check whether the character is not moving. And also one more thing, I want to check whether the character is jumping, character not jumping, not jumping. One more thing, and that is the character falling and not falling. So when all these three conditions will be fulfilled, then it will only mean that the character is idling, right? The character is being idle. So yeah, and when that is happening, I will simply play the idle animation. Character operator 0, value is 0, animation number 0 is idle. That's what we will do, right? And again, while jumping, we have said that okay, change the animation of the character to 2. That's fine when we are pressing the jump key, but this will not work if two things are happening at the same time. Suppose we have pressed the left arrow and jump at the same time. So what will we do? The computer will be confused what it should do. So I guess it will simply do the first thing which it encounters, like left arrow, or it may do the latest thing which it encounter, like jump. But we want to handle it some other way. We want to handle it explicitly. So add a condition. We want to add, go to platform behavior, is the character, if the character is moving and jumping at the same time, character is moving and jumping. So you can say that if that is happening, moving and jumping, you can simply play the, you know, jumping animation itself, right? You don't have to play the moving animation when the character is jumping. So yeah, that sounds good to me. Jumping animation number is 2, so I put 2 here, right? Moving and jumping. And one more thing, if the character is moving and falling, then what? Platform behavior, character is moving and character is falling at the same time, falling. Then we will play the falling animation, fall, which we made. I think its number was 4. Change the animation of character to number 4. No, I think it was 3. Number 4 was dead. Let me check what was the animation. Yeah, number 3 is fall. That's where I want fall to be. Uh, when the character is moving and falling, character will be falling. One more thing, when the character is falling, simply falling, is falling, character, okay, and let's just copy this one, copy and paste. So we have done a lot of things, you know. So let me first verify if this is correct or not. Character is moving, not jumping, not falling. So it is doing only one thing, and that is idling, right? Being idle. Character is moving and is jumping. Animation 2, which is the jumping animation. Character is moving and falling. We have animation 3, which is the falling animation. Character is falling, again animation 3. So what happens if the character is uh, falling and not moving? Well, then it's falling, right? Because moving condition is false. It is not checked alongside falling, but that's what will happen. It will, we will consider that the character is falling even though it is falling and not moving. That's, it's kind of confusing, but you don't have to bother with not conditions if you uh, don't really want anything different to happen when the character is falling and not moving. So let's leave that, and I think this will be enough, will be good enough for us for this purpose. So we can't test it right now. I have to build this and transfer it to my device, test it. I will do that in a minute, but before doing that, I want to handle this collision, handle the dead animation. So when character is in collision with spike, I am simply changing the scene to new scene 3, which is game over. But I want to play the dead animation and then change the scene when the animation has finished. So I will, right now I will remove this, delete, and I will add something else. I will add animation. I will change the animation of the character to 4, which is the dead animation, right? So another event, when the animation will be finished, animation finished, character, when it is finished, I will simply change the scene to new scene 3, stop and enter pause scene on, okay. So this will not work right now. This will cause problems because even when the character will collide with spike, you will still be able to control it. So that's, we don't want that to happen, right? Like when the character has died, you don't want to be able to control them, right? It should not, you should not be able to move them around when they are dead. So we have to handle that, and to handle that we have to use a variable. I will use a variable called alive, and I will make it a global variable, uh, mainly because global variables are easy to handle. So give it the name alive. So by default the character is alive, so alive value will be 1. Click on apply. So that's my one global variable. And now when we are touching left arrow, we are simulating left key for character and we are changing the animation, but we will do this only when the character is alive also. So we have to check whether the character is alive or not. So add a condition, variables, global variables, value of a global variable alive is equal to 1. So we have to check this condition. When the character is alive and we have pressed the left arrow, then we will move them. And if they are not alive and we have pressed the left arrow, then we should not move them or animate them, right? Because they are dead. So copy this condition, right click, copy, and go to all these four and paste them. Paste this condition over in all of them. Well, except for pause button, because you can still pause the game even when the character is dead. So maybe not, don't put it here, I guess, right? Yeah. Where else can we put it? Characters in collision with Spike, and this should happen only when they are alive, right? And when they have collided with Spike and we have changed the animation to dead animation, here we should say that alive is 0 because they are no longer alive now. So add action, variables, global variables, value of a global variable alive is equal to 0. Now variable alive is 0 when they have touched the spike and they have died. So yeah, it makes sense. And now when the animation of character is finished, but which animation we are talking about here, they don't know. The game does not know which animation I am talking about here. I am obviously talking about the dead animation. When the dead animation is finished, then I want to change the scene. But here it says the animation, any animation. If any animation will be finished, it will simply change the scene. So that's not good. I want to tell it that when alive is 0 and an animation has finished, then you change the scene. So when alive is 0, the only animation which will be playing will be the dead animation. So when it will be finished, we will change the scene. That's my logic. So let me now add a condition here. Variables, global variables, value of a global variable alive is equal to 0 this time. Because I want to check if the character has died, and if they have died then the dead animation has started playing, and that's what I want to check, whether the dead animation is playing or not. And if it is playing, which is checked by this line, then I'm also checking if that animation has finished, and if it has finished, then I will change the scene. And before changing the scene, you can simply change the value of alive back to 1, right? Because we want to maybe continue the game again or retry or something. So make it the first thing that should be done, right? Change the global variable alive to 1, back to 1, and change the scene to new scene 3, right? And all these actions will also happen when the character is alive. So you can simply copy this alive is equal to 1 condition and paste it in all of them, all these four, right? So now it looks okay. Looks okay. And one more thing here, when this action is actually centering our camera on our character, right? So this line is very important, but we only want the camera to be centered on our character when our character is alive, right? When our character has died, then we don't want the camera to be centered on them. That's just my preference. You can choose to center the camera on dead characters also, but I don't like that because it gives a little jerk in the movement of the camera. So I don't like that jerk which was happening. So I will add a condition, the same one, the same condition which checks whether the character is alive or not. So this camera centering on the character will only happen while the character is alive. That's all. That's what I want to do. This. So uh, I think all my conditions are good enough to work right now, right? So okay, let me run the game on my device and see how it is, how good it is. Again, I have shown you the video, but again I will build it and run it because there are some minor changes compared to the video one. Minor changes. Let's see how it runs. So build an Android application package, and yeah, I have supported Gdevelop on their online platform. For a very little money you can support them, and you can also get the facility to build apks directly using their online service, which is really helpful. Because if you will build apks from scratch using Android Studio, then you will have to spend a lot of time, and I will not recommend it. If you just want to make games, I will not recommend that you know uh, start working with Android Studio, because a lot of things to learn in Android Studio, and you won't be able to uh, you know learn all of these things just to make games. It's a lot. So I suggest that you can also go for this service. It's really helpful. So I will now wait for it to build and download and put it in my device, and then I will resume the video and show you how the game is working. So right away you can see that I can't see the girl's leg because my background is white, so we have to change that. And you can also see that she's not turning around, right? So her face is only facing one way, so we have to fix that also. And the jumping is working fine, right? And well, there may be some issues because we are not, and you can see that when we are moving and jumping, we want to run the jumping animation, right? So, or maybe the falling animation, I guess that will look better. And the dead animation is working too as it's supposed to, but you can right away notice that we have some gap below her. You see, I can see that gap. And yeah, so that's not good, right? We have to fix that. So let's do all that right now. So now let's do our corrections. Now here you can see that the background is white. In, like, I think 1 minute earlier you saw that the background was gray in color. That was a bug. Actually the background is white. We want to make it a little bit gray so that we can see the foot of this character. So just double click on background, edit with paste scale, and I will simply change the color to say something like that. Fill in, save, apply. Now we can see that our background is much better. We can see the character very clearly. That's good. And the second thing which we want to fix is that the character is not changing direction, right? It's moving in different directions, but it's not getting flipped, right? So let's do that. So we want to flip the character when we are pressing left arrow or right arrow. One thing very important which you must note here is that right now by default the character is facing towards right, and by right I mean your right, my right, your right, right? Towards your right the character's face is present right now. So first of all, let's do it for the right arrow. Right, if my character was facing towards left by default, I would first do the actions for left arrow, flipping actions. But since my character is facing right by default, I will do flipping action first for my right direction, right arrow or right key, whatever you are working with. So go to events and right arrow. What we are doing, simulating right key for character, changing the animation of character, and we also want to flip the character. So add action, rights and direction, I think, yeah, there in effects you can see the flip the object horizontally. My character activate flipping, so that's a very important option. uh, for your default direction you should not activate flipping, right? So keep it at no, click on ok. And for left arrow, add an action, sprite, effects, flip the object horizontally, character. And for left you should activate flipping, yes, click on ok. That's how we are going to be flipping the character. So now another problem was that uh, while we were moving and jumping, we were playing the jump animation, right? But there is a problem actually. When the character is jumping, uh, well, then it is also jumping, right? So that was creating some sort of problem here. Our jump animation was not being played completely. So instead of playing the jump animation when the object is moving and jumping, I suggest that we play the falling animation, because that will look little better, you know. In my opinion, you can keep it to jump animation, but it's not really playing the jump animation fully, right? And we can even do that also by adding a lot of other conditions. But I think for our purpose, for the purpose of a simple mobile game, you can keep it to the falling animation in this case. So that will be better in my opinion. And now the other thing which we want to fix is that when our character was being uh, you know collided with the spike and the dead animation was being played, we were noticing a little gap between her body and the floor. And so why was that gap coming there? There is a reason for that, and how to fix it, let's see. And you can notice if your sprite has been made in some other way, you will notice such gaps at many places. So how to fix those gaps? This is how you can do that. Just go to your character, double click on it, and we want to fix the gap for the dead animation, right? All our other animations are working fine, they don't have uh, you know weird gaps anywhere, but here we have a gap between the character and the floor. So click on edit hitboxes. This option is very difficult to locate for some reason. So here it is, edit hitboxes, right? For I want to edit the hitbox for my animation dead, and you can see right away that let me zoom it out. Wait, yeah, you can see right away that in the dead animation we have this gap here, and this shouldn't be there. And because of this gap, I mean the image canvas is much bigger than the character itself. So that's what's causing the gap here. The collision has been detected with the image canvas, right? And that's why we are seeing the gap. And the way to fix it is to simply shrink the image canvas. How can we do it? First of all, share same collision mask for all animations should be set to no, and share same collision mask for all sprites of this animation should be set to yes. Okay, that's cool. Now use a custom collision mask, and I clicked on that. You can go here. Okay, where is my collision mask? I can't see. I will click on plus, and immediately you can see a polygon which has 4 points. You can click on one point and drag it here. So I will drag it like here, right? I will drag this point maybe here, or maybe you can drag it here also. Here is also good. Here is also good. Drag it here, right? And this point I will drag here and keep it above. I mean, keep it close to the leg because we don't want to get that gap again, right? I think it is pretty good. uh, it should not cross the legs either, so I'm zooming in to check that it's crossing the legs a little bit. Make sure it does not cross the legs, and that should be okay. That it's a little bit unaligned, like my line is a little bit bent, but it's okay. It does not matter much. You don't have to have a completely straight line here. Okay, right. So yeah, now you can simply click on close. Make sure that, so you wanted to minimize the image canvas. We did that by using a new collision mask. Close it. And to check whether your collision mask has been edited or not, well, first click on apply and then again double click and edit hitboxes, and you can see that for the dead animation we have our custom mask. So that's pretty good, pretty cool. And now when we play the dead animation, we will not see the gap between the character and the floor. One more thing I want to do, I want to increase the Z order of our character little bit. I mean, I want it to be at least greater than the Z order of my spike. So spike's Z order is 19. I want the character's Z order to be little bit more than that. Maybe 12. 12 looks fine, right? That is looking good to me. We have edited a lot of things, fixed mistakes we were making. One more thing I want to fix. I don't want to set alive to 1 right here. So cut it. I want to set alive back to 1 when we actually go back to the game after seeing the game over scene. So the game over scene is this. Here when I click on back button, then I will set alive to, right, because when I am setting alive to 1 here momentarily I'm able to see the character jump to life. I mean, character do some movement if you are still pressing something. So that is a very minor detail, very minute, but people will be able to notice that. So go to new scene 3 or your game over scene, and or you can, in this scene itself, you can say that at the beginning of the scene you can change the variable game alive to 1. That will also work. I will do that, I guess. At the beginning of the scene at the beginning, when this is true, I will simply go to variables, global variables, value of a global variable alive is equal to 1. Click on OK and save. So that's okay. That's all, right? This should work pretty well, hopefully. Yeah. Now let me run the game again on my phone and I will show you how it's working. Now you can see that it's working pretty well. Our character is getting flipped. We can jump while still flipping, and our jumping while moving is working well too. It's not looking weird in any way, right? So that's why I suggested you to put the falling frame when jumping and moving. So that's right. It's like that. Okay, the dying animation is working pretty well too, as you can see, like that. Yeah, that's good, right? And yeah, so that's what it is. That's how you can make character animations, make your character animations on multi-touch systems. So yeah, that's how you can, animate a character and use it in a multi-touch game, right? So I will put the files for this game on GitHub and you can download them and use them in your own projects. And if you have any questions regarding this or any other thing in Gdevelop or game development, you can put your questions in the comment section, right? Thank you for watching.